So the first thing we're going to revisit is this auto coach. I've been doing a little bit of work on the chassis, but not quite there yet. And we're going to have to come up with a body. So anyway, I'll do a little bit more work on this first. So we're doing a little bit of work on the chassis for the auto coach. You right, remember this little rough and ready sort of idea. So we've got a base, which is sort of going to go on like that. The battery and some of the circuit board's going to hide under that, but that's going to be even further hidden by the superstructure, which we'll be sort of working on. Excuse me, I'm trying to do this one-handed. So we're getting the idea for the auto coach. Let's get the other piece. This is just cardboard. Oh, not the best of focus. Just cardboard. I made my own plywood. Cardboard, to want of a better word. 2 thin sheets with a thicker sheet in the middle. I put some strips around the windows here, just a single card, bit of brass rod. Yeah, I'm sort of liking. It'll work. It's going to need some paint. So before we get too much further, I said there was electrics. That's the blue rail, circuit board and battery to run the dead rail, and the little reed switchboard is on top. We're just getting ready to put some primer on stuff, but let's move this out of the way. We've done a little bit of detailing inside, very small amount. Even those big windows, a couple of chairs which will paint up quite nicely. As you can see, Lord Ashwood is checking things out. And before I put primer on everything, some quick view of the controls that I made up. Really just buttons, bits of wire, a whole bit of brake tube, which will give the desired effect from the outside. This is only going to actually run engine first in reality, so this compartment would always be empty, so no figure in there. It's a bit of a tight squeeze actually. We have a little bit of a wall to go in there. I left a window hole in there to allow some light in. I've got to light the coach yet as well. So next time you'll see this, it will probably be primer and hopefully an interior painted. So a little bit of primer, a very quick interior. I'm not sure you can really see the painted controls. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Let's see if we can get a bit of light in there. So just some basic controls that you'd see through the window of an auto coach. Had a quick look online. So as you see, a very rough and ready interior. I've since discovered this probably should be wood panelling look-alike, but I thought I'd brighten the inside up a little bit just to allow the light for the LEDs. It's almost ready to go in the paint booth. Mr. Bernie Woods has joined us for this section. I've sort of been in the paint shop a little bit. I have no idea why I brush painted this. I would normally have brushed this, but for some reason I brush painted it. I now have well over a week of work in this auto coach. So because of that, I've given her a name. You can't actually see the nameplate, but maybe you can, but she's called Dottie. Why not? The main reason for this auto coach is to hide the electrics that run Rosie. So Rosie's going to run with Dotty as a little sort of Great Western idea auto coach. And as you have known from previous videos, I use a dead rail and blue rail, and there's this is the older chip. This is not the one that's compatible with the new DCC chips. And little reed switch switches the magnet on, switches is all on. A couple of LEDs, I don't know if you can see those flickering. Let me just dim the light down here a bit. For carriage lighting. Yep, they're meant to flicker. They're sort of meant to be oil lamps. I use the little flickering tea lights you can buy in a box for 20 of them for not that much money, and just take the LEDs out and you get batteries at the same time. Once you get the board running, there's a little green flashing LED underneath there, which means that it's then accessible on your phone. And as you can see, there's Rosie, so we connect, and connecting, and you go to this app, start her up, get the sound. I'll just turn the sound down for the minute. I already have the rear light for Dotty plugged in. I don't know if you can actually see that. Let me try and do everything together here with one hand. So light on. You can sort of see the rear light. Got a headlight. Rosie's going to be running bunker first. So there's a little lamp on the back, and we'll just connect these two wires. A little battery, and you should get, if we can do that. There's Rosie's rear light, or front light in this case. I really enjoy wiring. I'm not very good at it. I do know the theory that once the smoke's got out, things stop working, which is good. I'm just going to connect these two wires together on the main body of Rosie, because anyone who's seen the video knows that she's got a little flickering firebox to go with that. There is also a sleuth smoke unit in here, which actually I wire directly to the track, because I don't use track power for running the motor. I use the track power for running the sleuth. So I somehow have to magically put all this together, and we've started with just gluing some of the wiring along the bottom of the chassis. I'm going to have 6 wires in total coming out the front. I'm going to hardwire this first. I've got some of those little mini sockets. Funny feeling, I don't think I have a 6-pin actually, so I might have to order a 6-pin so that the two can be disconnected. So what seems like ages later, I've hardwired between Rosie and Dotty. There you go, you can see the name. The reed switch is already on, so I've got the flickering oil lamps inside. Because all the board's hidden underneath the coach, I wanted a way of telling that the battery was switched on. I've also put the sound cube, the 1-inch sound cube in there. Actually, that's that little piece of green masking tape down there. So we can go to the Blu-ray app and we can connect in. And she's connecting. And we get to this, we start her up. Hence the sound. So we can open the sound app here and do the steam whistle, water stop, whistle, whatever. You see all that works. And first things first, let's get Rosie running away. Sorry for the shaky camera, I had to take it off the tripod for this. We'll lose a little bit of sound here. I'm not sure if you can tell, the sound's coming out of the speaker and out the auto coach and not out of the phone anymore. Going back to the app, you can open the light section on this side. I've named them headlight, rear light and firebox. So we swing around here, sorry again for the shaky camera. And I can do 3 things at once here. Light for the firebox. On comes the firebox. The headlight in this case, because she's running bunker first, or and that's on and off. Now we run all the way around this side. Again, apologise for the shaky camera, and I've slightly broken the light on it, and going to rear light, and on comes the rear light. Which needs painting black to keep some of that bleed out. But that is Rosie and a little auto coach. Now that's really shaky. So I'm seriously hoping to put a roof on Dotty as the next project. Smallbrook Studios, and all credit to Smallbrook Studios, this is their guards van. And I was going to buy 2 of these kits to make Dotty. No offense, but it's a bit out of my budget. So I do like this roof, even though I've modified the roof. But to try and get something as comical on Dotty, I can't think of anything that really works. And I like the roof separate, especially on the little guards van, because I've got an interior, but I've got one of the little DCC flickering and steady circuit boards that they make. And that gives me a little LED lamp inside and the little flickering oil lamp on the back. But getting back to the roof. I really wanted to try and copy this some way, but there was just... And I'm trying not to make this too ordinary, but it's getting very, very ordinary. So, my go-to roofing, after an experiment, you might have seen the wagon that I built. This is all coffee stirrers and tongue depressors and a couple of other extra brackets. The roof is off this at the moment because I started with, let me put that aside, a 2-inch piece of copper pipe. For the height of these rolling stock, that's way too heavy. I had to take it off. My next thing was, well, a bit of aluminium. So I have a little bit of a tipple I like. Not mentioning any names, other brands are available, I think is what they're supposed to say. Cut the can, and this is a nice lightweight aluminium, PALS roofing, whatever, and it's already got the curve in. The can's not quite long enough. It's close, but not quite. So, working on the aluminium, I went and sourced around in my little workshop and found some aluminium which is longer, but it's a little thicker, So we're sort of getting the idea for the roof. Yep, definitely where I want to go. But there is an interesting profile. I'm not sure if you can really see that I've used so that the Auto Coach gets this 3 slab front, like you can see on all the Google pictures and things. So to form that, it's a little too, if it was tin can it would be great, but it's not. So I saw on Facebook, and credit to whoever this was, I'm very sorry I can't remember who they were. They'd taken some tongue depressors or pieces of balsa. I'm going to use coffee stirrer sticks, as you can't go anywhere at the moment. You have to buy them, but actually it's almost cheaper to buy them in bulk than it is to buy the coffee. And using these sticks, put them on a piece of tape. We have a product called Tuck Tape here, which is a very, very thin tape, but incredibly sticky. And I've just been laying the coffee stirrers on this, and I'm going to have to extend this piece of Tuck Tape just a little bit because I've not quite got enough. And then I can form the roof. So we'll see how we do on that. So that leaves us with this Tuck Tape on the back. GM15 is very nearly dollhouse scale. I can't quite remember offhand. It's a shame because some of the furniture that you can find in some of the stores and stuff is actually too big. So, but it does inspire you to make some other stuff. But if anybody was ever wanting to make a roll top desk out of doll's house furniture, there's the idea. Anyway, the offcut, even more interestingly, I don't know if you can see that, is a nice little station valance for something which could be curved around. Oh, you just got to keep thinking of stuff. So I like that idea as well. And let's just go up a little here to Dotty. And we now have a roof which we can shape and do to the right length. So that's the next job. So everything's cut to shape. I'm already had this idea because they're wood sticks, bit of PVA glue and or wood glue and water and washing up liquid, and I'm just going to wash in the PVA to keep it flat. And I guess that would tell me it's 10 o'clock. And before you all rush and say, what mess is this? Remember when you used to dope old aeroplanes over balsa kits? I thought, why not put some tissue paper over the top to give like the canvas effect that probably would have been on the original roofs. So I've just been dabbing a bit of water on that over that PVA. That's just soaking. I just happen to have some toilet paper spare. And yeah, before you all rush to the comments, the round, yep, the roof is still, yep, round. It's only the edges that are shaped. Oh well. Onward and upward. A little further on in time, I've shaped the roof, added a few extra details, a couple of rain gutters. They're literally just little pieces of wire super glued on. I ended up sanding most of that tissue paper back off. It's given me a very rough roof. I was going to fill it and make it all nice and smooth, but I think I'm going to add some tippy ashwood patches with a couple of rivets or bolts holding bits of wood or something to waterproof the roof. And similar down round here, I've got shading and stuff to do. Cleared the decks today. I'm going to try and do a bit of painting, and we'll see how we go with that. Bit of a cruel close up. I decided to put some patches on the roof, and I just used a bit of masking tape. We're trying to get things comical. So a wiper arm just made out of a little bit of wire, little button with W on, Western region maybe? A couple of lamp brackets. But I've really patched this door up. Maybe a bit too much, but before we go to paint, we'll blend some of that in. I don't know, a little locker or something underneath. Hinges, just made of one little bit of cardboard and then a tiny little bit of wire super glued on. Well, hopefully now we're paint. And after all the hard work, this is where we end up. I think this might be the first passenger train to leave Tippy Ashwood. And Daisy Flowers is on hand to wave Bernie off. Quite the crowd has gathered. Bob Woods himself and Lord Ashwood to see Rosie and Dotty on the first run. Must be a test run because there's no passengers. Who'd have thought they'd ever see the day of passengers on Tippy Ashwood? Well, let's just say the first run round didn't quite go according to plan. We'll get back to that in a second. Rosie and Dotty seem to be running quite happy now. Oh, past the scenic break. As you can see, I haven't done much work on the boiler house. Or the warehouse, come to think of it. Still looking for something to go in this area. Excuse the piece of wood there. And funny enough, the issue came going through Halfpenny Holt. Not sure if you can see the tunnel on the right hand side. That is pretty close. Well, we're going to leave you with Daisy. She's doing a bit of YouTubing. And slowly, Rosie and Dotty, the first passenger train of the day at Tippy Ashwood, comes to a halt. A good day, I think you'll agree. I think it's everybody down the pub for a pint.